is there like a funny surprise where you've walked into a house and unexpected that you could share with us?
I've walked into houses that seem vacant, and I'm just going through and I open a door and there's a human sleeping on an air mattress. I've opened bathroom doors and it's quiet throughout the house and there's a human that is not dressed in there. Can you imagine somebody walking in on you? We need to know if there's somebody in there. We really want everybody alerted that we're coming.
So today my guest on the Andy Burton Show is Jodi Baggenstoss with J R Appraisals. How long have you been an appraiser?
30 years this year.
30 years. How long
30
have you
years.
owned your own company?
24 years.
Really?
Yeah.
The most of the time then?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
How many appraisers are working for you right now?
13, including me.
13?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. How many appraisals do you guys do in a year?
Oh, thousands. I guess I'd have to look. Thousands. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
your exposure to be able to see what's going on in the marketplace, pretty
It's
cool.
huge. It is
Yeah.
huge.
And to be clear, Jodi, you're an appraiser here in the Twin Cities.
Yep.
Primarily the Twin Cities and Western Wisconsin, correct?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So if you're a realtor out there listening to the show, there's a really good chance that Jodi or her team has done an appraisal on one of your homes, especially in the Eastern Metro area, right?
Absolutely.
Good. Are
Yes.
you guys more East Metro?
We're everywhere. We have appraisers out west. We have appraisers in Cambridge, down south. We have 8 in Wisconsin. So we're all over. We do a lot out west. A lot.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, cool.
Yep.
Just for me being in Woodbury here,
Yep.
I was thinking you were just here because you live right around here,
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. How did
Yep.
you become an appraiser?
When I was in college, I worked for an appraisal company. And when I was done, I thought, I'll get my license, try it out, just see. I mean, what's the harm? And it was a little easier back then and working for a company, you had a lot of people that can help you get to be licensed. It's a lot harder now, but it's easier when you have a lot more appraisers around you to help you.
Have you been independent your entire time? Have you ever been an employee?
Well, I was an employee for an appraisal company. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I
So-
was on the employee side. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So-
For quite a few years, because I was an employee there before I became an appraiser. So I worked there for 10 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we love when we get an opportunity to be able to work with you because
thank you.
you're one of the most reasonable of being able to talk through scenarios with
Mm-hmm.
and more coming from a place of understanding of
Yes.
what's going on an appraisal than trying to fight about value. So what I want to do with you today
Mm-hmm.
is we have a whole list, and we have hosted many Ask the Appraiser events together.
Yes.
Probably
Yeah.
like 12.
Yes.
It seems like about once a year we have you come in and you'll speak to a group of our realtor partners, and what better thing to do than to just take all those questions and put it and record it.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
then, so we can share it
Yep.
with realtors as well, because there's common misconceptions on appraisals that
So
happen.
many.
Yeah. And so I want to hammer out a few of
Yeah,
them. So we're not going to
absolutely.
get super granular in terms of like details on an appraisal. It's more high level stuff, of
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which I see are kind of bigger problems.
Yep.
So here is the first question.
Okay.
If you're ready to jump in. So who is really the client on an appraisal?
In a lending situation, the lender is always the client. It's not the appraiser, it's not the borrower, it's not the seller, it's not anybody other than the lender. They're the ones driving the ship. They're making the decisions on when we go out, how we do the appraisal. Sometimes there's 15 pages of instructions on take a picture of this, take a picture of that, take a picture of the house across the street. But the lender is always the client.
Yeah, and so this is a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
So you just opened something up. What is that initial list from the lender? Is that their instructions? Is that what
Mm-hmm. Yes.
that's called? And
Yes.
every lender has different instructions, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so every appraisal that is done, so an appraisal done by one lender can actually look different by another lender. 'Cause
Absolutely.
Well, give me an example of what is the difference between different lenders.
There's some lenders that just send over an order without any instructions, which is rare. The other ones send out, we want pictures of all smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, and this is on conventional appraisals. We want the water turned on and running with a picture. We want pictures of any deferred maintenance, anything. It could be the peeling paint on the deck. It could be a crumbling steps. It could be the cracked garage floor. They want pictures of all of it. And some ask us to reach out to the agent or the point of contact first and verify quite a few items before we go out. So we get our list together, contact whether it's the borrower or the listing agent with those questions before
Okay.
going out.
Fire detectors, is that required in a conventional?
Almost every lender requires that now because the state of Minnesota and the state of Wisconsin has deemed not having smoke and carbon monoxide detectors a safety hazard.
Okay.
Since that is the way it is, lenders will have a hard time selling their loan because there could be a health and safety hazard.
Got it.
So that's conventional, that's FHA, that's VA. It's pretty much on all of them.
So realtors, make sure you have working fire. Do you know what are the rules for fire detectors?
So I don't have them off the top because Wisconsin and Minnesota are different.
Okay.
We send out a handout to every listing agent when we set up an inspection with here's Minnesota's guidelines, here's Wisconsin's guidelines.
Perfect.
And yes, I should know off the top of my head. I make notes, I get back in my car and look at that. I look at the requirements.
Yeah, that makes
Some
sense.
are within 10 feet, some require smoke detectors in each room, carbon monoxide detectors in each room, one in an unfinished basement. Know your guidelines and just have them with you. Have them on your phone. There's so many guidelines that I don't know off the top of my head where I'm just looking at them as I'm going through the house.
So my house is 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and we just went through and basically replaced every single one in the house.
Yeah.
Because they started failing.
Yes,
Yeah, so just because you have one and there's a battery in there doesn't mean it's good.
100%.
On that.
And I think that's why we need multiple in a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
totally.
that's a common one.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So to be clear, where is Waterstone on this spectrum of our list? Is our list really big?
No.
It's not? Oh,
No,
okay.
but it's an interesting thing that you ask that, because that's one thing I want to bring up, because agents will call me and say, the loan officer said you shouldn't have called for this. And here's me, I pull up the order instructions from the lender, and it asked us to take pictures of smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, but the loan officers don't always know that their own instructions list all these things. Because there's operations and then there's like the sales area, correct?
I would venture to guess most loan officers don't. I don't even know what's on the list here at Waterstone. So you're making me think I need to go request from our appraisal department.
Yeah.
Give me the list just so I know.
100%. I
Yeah.
agree with that because this is where conflict comes about when the agent and the loan officer are speaking and they're all saying this shouldn't have happened, and then the agent's getting hyped up and they're getting upset and they're going to call the appraiser and call him out. Well, that's in the instructions, and our instructions are basically a contract between the appraiser and the lender, the client, that we promise we're going to do these items.
Cool.
Otherwise, we are supposed to not take the order.
Yeah, so very important when there's a lender involved. The lender is the client.
Yes,
Right?
100%.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Next question. Why do appraisers sometimes insist on inspecting homes before it's 100% complete, even when the agents give you pushback?
That's in a new construction, the first thing we do is reach out to the agent and ask, how far along is the construction? We don't know if it's done. We don't know if it hasn't started yet. There's a vacant land. And a lot of times this just happened the last couple of weeks. Agent said, I do not want you to come out here for 3 weeks because it's going to be done in 3 weeks. We don't want a final inspection. So we don't want to incur those fees. Okay, we don't care. We don't care when we go, but we're required to then contact the lender back and say, the agent said the property is going to be done in 3 weeks and they don't want us to come. Okay. Lender comes back and says, no, we want you to go out there now. We want that report made subject to completion, and we want you to do a final the day it's done. Okay. Contact the agent back. Agent's upset, angry at us, and you're just doing this to get final inspection fees. Not the case. Not the case. The lender gets to decide when we go out there. But it created a lot of animosity. She was very angry and she wasn't having it. So it creates an issue in the process because as we go through the appraisal process, we probably have questions for that agent. Well, now it's kind of hostile.
Yeah, well, so there's some reasons why we do that.
Yeah.
We have, I don't even know how many new construction loans have
lot.
closed at this time, probably 1,000. So, and there's a reason why we ask for it up front.
Yes.
So first of all, if there's a value issue, we can attack that 3 weeks or a month before closing versus waiting. It is not uncommon for a builder to not have that property done until like 10 days before. So if you're getting out there and you're doing it 10 days before, including weekends, if you got a couple of days to do your job after the inspection, we quite literally could be having the appraisal 4 or 5 days before and it blows up.
Yeah.
And there's a problem.
Yep.
Right. So we're being proactive, right? So that little $100 reinspection fee that some people will get caught up over, they don't realize that that's an insurance policy. It's an insurance policy that's going to give us time to overcome any problems with enough time. So it's really important. It's not always about the cheapest. It's about what's the right thing to do for the client and to give them a great experience.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. How should agents handle lender requirements that may lead to a final inspection fee later? Because what we're seeing for the lender requirements right now, it is changing.
Yes.
So we are seeing, and it really depends on the property, that we are seeing even on a conventional property condition or deferred maintenance being flagged. And then this is what's interesting. It's up to the underwriter to identify whether they can overturn that or not for a final inspection for repair.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
It's up to the underwriter is the big thing. And you did hit on something right there where you said things are changing. That's another thing that agents and borrowers need to understand. Your deal that happened 6 months ago is not going to be the same. The lender could be requiring something completely new now.
So we will see that the appraiser will take a picture of a property condition. For instance, in a basement, it appears that there may or may not be black substance on the wall.
Okay.
Okay. It's so I've noticed that appraisers don't want to say mold anymore.
Nope.
Right? Like,
Nope.
so they just say black substance.
Yep. Yep.
And then we are going to defer to underwriting if an inspection is needed or not.
100%.
Right,
So
so-
appraisers, unless you are versed in mold, we should not be saying mold. I don't know if it's mold. It could be a stain. I don't know. So we are taking a picture. We're assuming it's not mold. And we say that. We assume it's not mold. And then the underwriter will get to make a decision on if they want an inspection by a qualified individual or that they're fine with it. They could be fine with it. Typically not. They want to investigate it a little bit more. And they get to take it from there and flag it. So a lot of times they'll come back to us and ask us to change the appraisal subject to an inspection. And a lot of times the loan officer doesn't know all of this is going on until they get the appraisal report subject to.
Yeah, we actually had that happen just recently. And I was looking at it thinking, ooh, this could be a problem.
Yeah.
We went back to the seller, which was one of these large home flipping companies that do like 500 a year.
Yeah.
They had that fixed
Yeah.
in like 4 days.
Yeah.
They had it completely fixed, did whatever repairs, painted over. It was actually a non-issue.
Yeah.
At first, like, as a loan officer, I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, like,
Oh,
we
no.
got a major problem.
Yep.
And they turned around and fixed it right away.
Yep.
So I was like, oh wow, don't get ahead of ourselves assuming something needs to be a big deal. We just need to be proactive in communication with everybody.
You hit it right on the head. Not assume anything's a big deal until it is a big deal. Which
Yeah.
it could be just fine.
So no different than a lot of the times for property condition. I am telling agents, hey, if there's something really obvious, maybe you want to be proactive and fix it. If you don't know, I'm a believer of just send the appraiser out and see if they flag it or
Yep,
not.
I agree.
Don't overanalyze.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times they may not be flagged.
Yeah.
And they're doing more work than the seller or buyer even cares to be done.
Agreed. Because there's usually time to do it in between. It all just depends. And a little bit of peeling paint is probably easily fixed.
Hence why we want to order the appraisal right away.
Absolutely.
We don't want to sit on an appraisal. So if you got a 45-day closing, we really want to get the appraisal ordered right away to identify a property and have plenty of time to be able to fix the problems if there is one that comes up. So not just value, but condition. All right, next. Why is it important for appraisers to know if a property is vacant or occupied?
Okay, few reasons. We ask that up front, and a lot of times there's no issue. It's the agent that'll come back and say, well, I don't think that's any of your business. Well, we're going to find out when we get there. We have the lockbox now. We ask up front because if it's vacant, a lot of times people shut their water off. So if it's vacant, we're going to communicate to the agent, you should get the water on, because we turn the water on in vacant houses and take a picture of the lights on. So we are communicating to the lender, all the utilities are on, they're working. The other one is, I've walked into houses that seem vacant, and I'm just going through and I open a door and there's a human sleeping on an air mattress. It's a safety issue. We need to know if somebody is in there, because usually that person, they're not on the text thread of a showing time. We need to know things up front, again, utilities, and if there's a human in there when we're in there. It's a safety.
Totally. All right, this is going to be kind of off topic.
Okay.
Is there like a funny surprise where you've walked into a house and unexpected that you could share with us?
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Going through, and I yell now. I've had somebody else say, yell. I walk in, lockbox, appraiser. I'm yelling, appraiser, throughout the whole thing.
So you just walk in, you're like, appraiser here, right?
Yeah,
Makes
because
sense.
I have opened the door. I remember this was in Hudson out in the country, and I'm way out in the country, and I open the door, and so probably somebody that works nights. I open the door, and there's a huge German Shepherd and a huge man that they're angry because I just opened their bedroom door. I've opened bathroom doors, and it's quiet throughout the house, and there's a human that is not dressed in there, and they didn't know about the appraiser, but they're so, and rightfully so. I mean, can you imagine somebody walking in on you?
Yeah.
We need to know if there's somebody in there. We really want everybody alerted that we're coming. We have a lockbox. We ring the doorbell. Not everybody comes to the door, but people are angry, and it's I'm sorry, and it's bad situations. So we want to ask these questions up front, safe for them, safe for us, as well as the utility situation. Is the water on? And appraisers are not supposed to be turning the water on. We'll get that from agents. If you want it on, you can turn it on. We are not supposed to be making changes at properties. I've asked all the powers that be, are we supposed to go in? No, you are not supposed to. What if there's a leak? Then we're liable for the leak.
That makes a lot of sense. You should not be going to the main line turning that on.
No, we should not be.
Yeah.
No.
So
No.
give me examples of unnecessary like scheduling conflicts that end up happening that a realtor can be in touch with their client to avoid this from happening.
Scheduling is a couple things I'd want agents to know. It's fine if the homeowner's there. If they can't leave because they have little kids, it's fine. It's completely fine. They don't have to pick up and leave, but we do need to look in every room. So it's one thing you want to talk to your clients about. There's a lot of people working from home, and we'll get to a property and they'll say, well, you can look in every room but that one, my husband's working in there. Okay, we have to take a picture of every room. Not we could tell what the room looks like without looking in there. For the most part, we need a photo of every room. So you want to tell your clients, they need to be in and out. We're not in the house that long. It takes a couple seconds to take a picture of a room.
So think about that. So let them know that if you're going to work from home, just say, hey, make sure that if they need to get into that room, maybe walk them to that room first.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And say, take a picture of this so then I can continue on with my day.
100%.
Okay, great.
100%. Yeah. Pets should be put away. Same thing that you would do at a showing. We send out a little handout, unlock the garden shed, because most lenders' requirements are saying we would need the interior photos of any outbuilding. And yes, it includes the 8x8 little garden shed that might not even have value, but it needs to be unlocked. They need a picture of the inside of it. So
Makes
those
sense.
are some things on our list.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going here. How do AMCs actually assign appraisals, and why does it sometimes take days after realtors are told the appraisal is ordered?
Okay, this is a common one. We get an order to do an appraisal, we're contacting the agent or the borrower within an hour. And we have someone screaming on the other end, you guys are holding this whole thing up. This was ordered a week ago. And we're looking at it, it's date stamped. We just got this order 45 minutes ago. And the agent's not having it. They're angry. So I'm also an agent. So when I'm on my agent hat on and I get an accepted offer, I'll put the address at our office saying, don't accept this because I don't think we should do it if we're involved financially. And About a week later, after the loan officer sends an email saying, hey, good news, we've placed an order for the appraisal, that appraisal management company is going through all 13 of our appraisers trying to send the order, and we're declining it each time, but it's a whole week later. So that order has not been placed with an actual appraiser. It has been placed with an appraisal management company. So I've reached out to those loan officers and I've said, just so you know, the order hasn't been placed yet. We're 5 days later here because they're still asking for fee and turn time. So appraisal management companies are there to make money, just like the rest of us, and it's fine. But they're reaching out to who can do it basically the least expensive because they make the difference in that fee.
Yeah, so when you're seeing egregious prices on appraisals, in my experience, that's usually through an appraisal management company. It's not through the actual appraisal company.
No.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for our company, Waterstone Mortgage, here in the Twin Cities in western Wisconsin, we don't go through an AMC. We go directly to the appraiser.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's really important.
Yes.
So if we're seeing a delay, it's either because we can't get an appraiser to pick it up within the timelines, and our pricing is already pre-negotiated typically, so we don't have that problem.
Yeah,
So,
you actually don't, because your fees are good.
Yeah.
They're going to put you at the top of the list.
yeah, totally. So, okay, can a realtors or borrowers request a specific appraiser to be removed from an assignment?
No. There are some situations, if there's a safety issue, if there's been issues, say, you personally know the appraiser, or there's going to be some kind of conflict of interest. But if it's because that person produced a lower value than the sale price in the past, you cannot ask for that to be removed. And if a lender does that, they could be in trouble and not be able to access funds in the future for doing that. So the only people, again, the client is the lender. It's not the agent. It's not the borrower. The client has already approved an appraiser and they've deemed them worthy to do an appraisal like this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, next. Why can't appraisers accept photos from agents or homeowners as part of the report?
We have our rules, and this usually comes in a final inspection. The patio door is not secure when we're there. So we open the patio door, take a picture, say the patio door is not secure. Lender said we want this secure. So we'll get a picture from an agent later with a picture of a patio door secure, and they'll say, can you use this? Well, if I want to falsify a report, yes, because you can't do that. But our final inspection report literally signs, I certify that I personally inspected this. So if you're taking a photo from somebody else, you did not personally inspect it. So it's falsifying a report. It's not legal to do that. Yeah. I mean, and I have so many instances of lenders, appraisers, or not appraisers, borrowers sending photos of somebody else's central air unit saying, hey, it's in. Okay, I'm 2 blocks away. There's no central air unit there. They took a picture of a different house. So that's why it's not accepted.
It's also protecting the borrower. Because if you had a central
100%.
air unit,
Yep.
and all of a sudden a realtor steps in,
Yep.
and they send it, right, and the
Yep.
borrower doesn't even know,
Yep,
and their central air unit on new construction wasn't even installed,
yep,
like, all of a sudden, hey, we could actually be held liable on the lender side,
Yep.
right, and you could be held liable
yep.
on the appraiser side. Yeah, so it's about liability and risk.
And you hit it on the head. You're protecting the borrower here. And I know everyone's like, hey, we just want to close it. We're not worried about the builder installing the central air unit until it doesn't happen after the fact. And now the builder's been paid and they're not installing the central air unit for whatever reason.
Yeah, and for us, we can just escrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
easy.
can just say, builder, put up
Yeah.
your bid on it, and we'll hold that money in an account.
And
So-
that's the way it should be done. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, okay, when appraisers ask about items like bathrooms, vanities, or utilities being on, what's really driving that question? You touched on it earlier a little
I
bit.
touched on the utilities. A lot of times we'll look through a purchase agreement and it'll say seller to install a vanity in the primary bathroom. And we'll look at the MLS photos. There's just not a vanity there for some reason. So when we reach out to schedule, we're going to ask, has that vanity been put in? No, but the agent said, but I don't want you to wait. That's no big deal. It's a $200 item. We want you out here tomorrow. And we're like, hold up. we're going to check with the lender. Lender comes back and said, no, we want that vanity in before you go, because they must have some time on the loan. Again, they're the one driving the ship. Call the agent back. They want us to wait until the vanity's been put in, let us know. And again, there's this big upset, but there shouldn't be. We're all working towards a common goal of closing this, with the borrower being taken care of, the lender being taken care of, and closing on time anyways. So the lender decided that they want this vanity put in, and we all kind of just got to go with it. The appraiser has to go with it, the agent has to go with it, and just get it done.
And small property condition rarely affects the appraised value a lot.
Yes.
So I'll have it where it'll be flagged let me clarify what I'm saying. So I'll get feedback from the listing agent or buyer's agent saying the exterior of the property is being repainted, and we really want that to be considered in the appraisal. Okay. It's like, great. That can just be flagged for reinspection.
Yep.
Right. So, because you can factor that in. If it's really bad, you can be like, you can write right on there, we'll reinspect post exterior repaint.
And the value will be as if it were completed that day we were there. We do it all the time.
Correct. And then I had an appraisal. I had one recently where the buyer's agent insisted that we wait for the exterior to be repainted, and it was a VA, and it ended up pushing it where we didn't get the appraisal back till a week before closing. Which that can cause way more anxiety to the consumer than even worth it. It ended up actually causing a snowball of issues because the buyer then said, I'm not going to do a water test until I can affirm that the home is worth what I'm paying for it.
Reasonable.
Right?
Yeah,
so then
absolutely.
they ordered the water test. The water test didn't get in time to be able to close on time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And where I was over here thinking we should just order the appraisal up
Yeah.
front. Like for a reinspection, we're going to save them. We're going to save them $125, and it caused it to close 5 days late.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I think a lot of times the underwriter can't answer questions like, is this going to be an issue? They need to see the pictures of everything to make that determination, and they can't really answer a question until they see it in front of them. We can't answer a question until we see it ourselves either. So it's best to have us get out there and give you guys as much information as we can.
Okay, realtors, just a reminder, your client's spending $400,000, $100 on a reinspection is not that big of a deal. So let's not be tripping over small dollars.
Yeah.
Right, and causing a bad experience for the consumer.
Yep.
Right?
Agreed.
So what is the right way for an agent to prepare for an appraisal, and what information is most helpful to provide up front?
Some of the best agents that I just go, oh, you're just awesome. And I'll guarantee they're the most successful. We'll reach out to schedule. They respond promptly. They'll send us, hey, these are the comps I used on the property. Here's a list of updates that you might not be able to see. I don't know how old the windows are. I don't know how old a lot of things are when we get there. Love that. Give us information. Prepare the property. Make sure the whole property is accessible. That is one of the biggest reasons we go back to properties completely unnecessary. The back bedroom in the basement was locked. Well, we have a renter in there and he likes to lock the door, so nobody can go in there. We're going to have to come back. And it's going to cost money and it's going to take time. The whole property needs to be accessible. And again, detached garages, where we go up there, there's no garage door opener left. The garage is locked for safety reasons, but there's no key anywhere. We're kind of looking around, the house is vacant. And we send this list to the agents when we schedule. Every outbuilding has to be unlocked and open. It's the biggest reason for us to come back. And those things are really unnecessary. It's being able to access the entire property.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about, I just recently had, I've had 2 different scenarios in the last few months of if a listing agent is proactive on why not to use a comp. So if they do their search and they look, hey, within 1 mile, right, ooh, there's this comp, and here is the issue. One of them was improperly entering square footage into the MLS, right? So they could have seen where the house 3 houses down had the wrong square footage in the MLS. right?
Very common.
Yeah. So if you do a quick search and just identify, hey, this comp at 123 Main Street has the wrong square footage, you can cross-reference that to
County records.
To be able to affirm that, even though county records are, we know how that
They're
works.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah. But, or this comp over here was a fire sale, right?
Yep.
And identify that. And if
Yep.
can you omit it if you know why
Yes.
a home sold for less?
Yes.
Like if you got a little insider information, note that, right?
It's invaluable in those scenarios. I was doing an appraisal, high-end neighborhood, and the house next door sold for so little. And I look at these beautiful photos, and I have no idea. Well, the pool was put in. It's never been serviced in the wintertime, so everything was broken. And I got all this information from multiple people, and I was able to omit it. But just like the agents want to omit it, we have to put in our report why we omitted it, because our reports are reviewed by other appraisers, and we don't want it to look like we completely ignored this comp. We have to have a reason. So if agents know that information, tell us up front that, hey, I know something about this property and it just sold last week, but I know this. Proactive is the key. Let us know that up front. As soon as we do a book a showing, everything's automated now. You have our email address. You can just send an email at any time. Here's some information. The appraiser has that. It's so valuable. But the square footage is probably one of the bigger issues, overstating square footage on a property. And two properties that are identical, it looks like now this one should be worth less because this bigger property sold for the same price. So it's really important to have the accurate square footage in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how do appraisers determine adjustments, and why do they change depending on market conditions?
That's a good one. I just got an email from an agent this morning saying, I don't agree with the adjustment. Okay, and by the way, we can talk about that, but there has to be a reason why. Adjustments are based on the market. They're not based on what it costs to put something in. So if you have two townhomes next door, one's got a fireplace, sold for $280, the other one doesn't have a fireplace and it sold for $260, let's go $270. The adjustment for that fireplace could be $10,000. That's where our adjustment comes from. Now, in the market we just came out of through COVID, with shortage of listings, all of a sudden things are changing. Last week, $280 with a property that had a fireplace. This week, another one closed. Property did not have a fireplace, still sold for $280. This is what the market is doing today. They're deciding that they're not going to be as specific on their price because there's too many buyers compared to sellers. So it changes. Now when the market slows and there's more inventory, then the buyers could be pickier. I'm going to pay less for this property.
How about seasonal adjustments? So what I always come to find is this time of year when we're doing appraisals and we're kind of in a little baby refi season. So when someone's getting an appraisal right now, it looks the best out of the year, right?
Yep.
Because we're seeing price cuts happening.
Yep.
Like currently.
Yep.
Which is normal.
Very.
It's seasonally normal. It's fall in Minnesota and Wisconsin, right?
School has started.
Yeah, school started, and people start to fire sale.
Yeah.
So what I end up seeing is homes that are closing right now are still using the comps from the spring for value because it's within 6 months. But then we get into all the sales of February, March, April. So you get that first 60 to 90 days when the market is back, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that you look backwards starting, is it 90 days?
We start they prefer 90-day sales.
So then
absolutely.
End of February, so you're getting into March closings, really?
Yep.
That's the roughest.
It is the roughest.
Right.
It's the roughest for us as well.
Yeah, you're looking back. Those are contracts that went under contract December, November, December, January.
Yep.
Yeah, so then depressed time in our market.
We can compare the year before and say this one sold in the summer, this one sold in the winter, and show a pattern of seasonal, and we can do what's called a time adjustment. But we have to prove it. We can't just say that this is why things are lower in the wintertime or after school starts. But it is 100% true. My big day, which has always been the day, is February 15th. You will see properties sit on the market without a showing throughout the whole winter, and I'm sure the sellers are just, February 15th happens, and then you have multiple offers on that property. It is crazy. But we can look back and do time adjustments. But we have to prove our point. We can't just make time adjustments pulled out of our hair. I mean, we have to show data from previous years that says there's a percentage that properties drop in the wintertime. Doesn't mean that they're worth less. It really doesn't. But the lender wants to know, or the underwriter wants to know, that we're not in a declining market, because we've been in declining markets before, and they show patterns. So we're supposed to go back 24 months and show a pattern.
I agree. So, okay. What's the best way for an agent to challenge or request a reconsideration of value without burning bridges?
The biggest thing that I would say to the agent first is to take the time and read the entire report. Because so many reconsiderations of value are so emotional, and they're emotionally written. The appraiser clearly didn't go to the lake frontage and check out the lake frontage. Well, there's a photo of the lake frontage in the report. So everything is going to be discounted. The best way is with data. Keep your personal opinions out of it. Don't start out by saying clearly the appraiser doesn't know this market, doesn't know what they're doing, they must be uneducated. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Where's the data? Where is facts? They did not use the house that just sold 2 doors down. Why did they not use that house? Stick to facts. Have a buddy that can take your emotions out of it and just state the facts. Because appraisers are not perfect either. I mean, we make mistakes, and then we learn from them. And the best one would be, I always give this example because I see this a lot. Subject properties built in the 50s, but it's got new siding, new roof, new gutters, new furnace, new central air unit, new hot water heater, and it's all updated. But all the comps are updated, but I think the appraiser might have missed the siding, roof, gutters, central air, furnace, water heater. We need to show a comp that has those as well. And kindly write it, because again, we're supposed to be working together. I don't know any appraiser that is going, yeah, I'm going to come in low. It's not what we want to do. But
I think some realtors feel like that.
I know that.
Yeah, they're
absolutely.
like, they see a name and they're like, it's for sure coming in low.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking, if you think it's for sure going to come in low, then do your job.
Yes.
And be proactive.
Yes.
Right? The reason I'm a really good loan officer is we take really good notes.
Yes.
And we create a story for the underwriter with supporting data for them to be able to approve the income or assets.
Yep.
Right? So we slow down, we do our job up front to create a successful outcome for our clients.
Yep.
So for realtor listing agents, it is your job to have a successful outcome for your seller.
Yeah.
So by you being proactive, so the best way to avoid a low appraisal is being proactive with all the supporting data.
100%.
Right.
And I'll get, if I say this to some agents, they'll say, well, I'm not doing someone else's job. That is not at all what it is. We are there for a half an hour. Now, if you don't have something in your listing or in the supplements about that property, we do not know about it. We don't. The best system is how VA does it, the Tidewater. And I just love this, because a lot of agents will say, well, nobody ever overturns the value. That is so not true. I've done Tidewater, I don't know, tons of times in the last couple months. Only 1 or 2 times was I still not able to hit the value after I got information from that agent. And I'll always be nice and email back and say, thank you. You know what would be really good for your next listings? Put that in the supplements. Have your seller go through their house for the 2 weeks and write down all the things they've done to the property, because we don't know. We don't know how old some of these items are, and it's helpful to know. A furnace and central air unit is very expensive compared to one that is probably got 2 years left of life. So we need to know that information, but the proactive part is huge. It really is.
Yeah, I agree entirely. That's why you see certain agents have less problems than
Yep.
others, and then it's the things in the background. So in today's world, providing the data is no longer leaving it at the listing. It's actually, if I'm hearing you right, that in showing time,
Yep.
they can see the email.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
then they can provide their packet, so you could do all your research
Yep.
and have your little folder ready.
Yep.
That when the request comes through, you
Yeah.
just send it over.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So it should be part of, if you have questions on value,
Yep.
it should be part of creating your listing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if we're all working together, and appraiser's having some issues, now, we legally can't talk value with anybody other than the lender, okay? But if I'm having some issues with value, I can reach out to the listing agent if we're all professional and we're all willing to work together and say, help me out with you showed this couple 10 properties in the area. There's this other listing over here that looks identical to yours. It's listed $20,000 less than you guys offered. Help me out. But if now we have all this animosity just when we're scheduling, a lot of times appraiser's not going to reach out. Now, I still do, but I do it on email.
So don't be
but
a dick.
Don't, exactly.
Yeah, like
exactly.
that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't know why.
Yeah.
I will see it sometimes that they'll just be a complete a-hole
Well,
to the
no,
appraiser, and it's
yeah.
like, what is going on? Like, they're never gonna work with you.
No.
If you're leading off like that.
Yep.
So this brings up a really good point. Is like lead with curiosity.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so is the key thing. Don't lead with being defensive. The loan officer can talk to
Absolutely.
the appraiser. If a loan officer is being told, I cannot talk to the appraiser. You cannot push an appraiser on value. You can call and say, tell me more.
Yeah.
So how, like,
Yeah.
Tell me, like, what's going on? Why did it end up happening this way?
Yeah.
To, like,
Yeah.
show me the blind spots that I'm not seeing.
Absolutely.
Is that all acceptable?
It is all acceptable. I
Okay.
have throughout the week, because I get every call for all 13 appraisers. They don't go right to the appraiser because we kind of have that system. They're out there doing their appraisal. It's not personal when someone calls me about somebody else's appraisal, and and I'll work with them, and then I'll work with the appraiser. But we have such good conversations when they're calling to gather information. Never since the beginning of time did anything good come out of just calling somebody and telling them off. I don't know where it's going to go. Just last week, I had an agent call, and she was going to challenge the FHA, and she was angry when she first called. And I'm like, okay, bring it down a little bit. It just like, so we can have a conversation. And I'll say, well, how many FHA classes have you taken? Well, none. Okay. All right. So I just want to say I've taken tons. So here's the guidelines, and I will email them to you. And at the end of it, she says, I didn't know any of this, and everybody in our office is saying it's wrong, and even the loan officer said it was wrong. I said, well, the loan officer doesn't know all FHA guidelines either, right? And they change. That's the thing. They change. They update throughout the year. Fannie Mae updates their guidelines throughout the year. Get on that email list, and so you know some things. But lead with curiosity so you understand how it all went down and the reasons why, not defensiveness. Because you might learn something today that you're going to be able to bring to your clients as someone that's smarter than the next agent.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. This is a perfect way to put a bow on this.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing for agents, be proactive, right?
Yep.
So the more proactive you can be
Yeah.
with the appraiser,
Yeah.
the more likely you are to be successful. Secondarily, if you have a problem, lead with curiosity.
Yes.
And just ask questions versus calling them stupid. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
100%.
There it is. That's a little box.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
wanted to
so-
hit on one other thing about final inspections, because
Yeah.
the biggest thing I see personally, being an agent and being an appraiser, are the new constructions. There seems to be some confusion when we go out to do the final, and it's every week, and it's been since the beginning of time. We'll call the builder or the builder agent. Is the property done? Is it 100% done? Absolutely, it's 100% done. Well, we don't even get out there for 2 days later, and we pull up, and there's 15 cars in the driveway. There's cabinets missing, the water's off. And I'm not sure where that confusion comes in, but the lender is asking for us, is it 100% done? Yes or no? And it's a yes or no question. And I think we get a lot of people going, you need to sign off on this. Well, appraisers are not signing off. That's not even a thing. We go out there, it's a yes or no question. We are not signing off that people can close. But I think there's a lot of things that are completely misguided in the new construction world.
So new construction sales reps, if you're really questioning, go look at it for yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of times what I see is neighborhood builders or site managers or project managers, however it's done within your company,
Yeah.
are telling you it's done
Yeah.
when it's really not done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the key on
Yeah.
that. You need to put your eyes on the property to say, would I be handing this over to the consumer in this condition?
Yeah.
That's what you want. Like vacuuming,
Yes.
cleaning is different.
Yeah.
But otherwise, is it a finished product?
Yeah. Is all the
That's-
cabinets in?
Yeah, like
you know,
what is a finished product? Would you be buying this house the way it is today?
Yeah. No,
Like if
nobody's
you-
coming back.
Yeah, no one's coming back.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like we said, like a little paint,
Yeah.
a little cleaning, that's
Yep.
different.
That's very different.
Yeah, than actually complete.
Yep.
Man, thank you so much for sharing
welcome.
everything with me today.
You're welcome.
Like I'm over here learning quite a bit myself, and I think some things are constantly changing.
Yes, they
It's
are.
like really important to put it out to the real estate community.
Yes.
And that we all work together to make these transactions successful for
Absolutely.
our clients.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jodi.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.